I've been doing a lot of work on the Blazer and I have not been making any videos about it. So today I was just about to do a bunch of suspension work and steering work and was like, you know what I should do? Get my tripod and start filming. So we're going to be doing a lot of stuff today. Stay tuned. So I was just assembling all my parts. I have upper control arms, bump stops for the upper control arms, shocks for the front, tie rod assemblies, like the inner, the outer, and the adjusting sleeves, but one of them is missing. I don't know. I swore I brought it with me. I did move, but I thought I brought all these parts, so we're just gonna do our best with what we have right now. So I started off by jacking up the car and putting it on jack stands. I lifted the whole car off the ground because I was actually rotating my tires on this day as well. Since I was going to be taking off the front two tires anyway and desperately needed to rotate my tires, I figured this would be a great time to do it. So I got started disconnecting the ABS wire and all the hardware that was holding it in place, as well as holding in the brake lines, and then took the caliper bracket off and got that out of the way. And that's kind of where everything went wrong on this first day. And we're all done. Wow. Just kidding. I called O'Reilly's to see if I could get the inner tie rod that I needed because I don't know where it is. And they couldn't get it till 1 o'clock, so I was going to try to get as much work done as I could and then have one of my roommates bring me to go get the part that I need. And then just nothing was going right. I could not get the ball joints to separate. I couldn't get the outer tie rod out. I don't know where my pickle fork is, and I just decided that it's actually probably best if I do this not when I have work, like tomorrow morning. So I'm gonna do it in a few days and make sure I have all the parts and everything is good, and then pick it up again. So yeah, I decided I still want to be productive today, so I'm gonna make some shelves that I've been meaning to put up in my room for books. And the garage is a disaster. This is a lot of parts and a lot of things, and I didn't clean up from my work this morning, so we're just gonna put a little table here and call it good. Oh, fuck yeah. Making progress. Well, I finally got this thing free. I ended up putting the jack and a piece of wood underneath and pushing up on the stud, and while I whacked it with the pickle fork, and it finally separated. Time for the upper control arm and shocks. Removing the bolt from the bottom half of the shock was super easy. I just loosened it with a socket and ratchet and then used the jack to adjust the height of the lower control arm, so I was able to slide out the bolt cleanly. Yo. This tie rod end did not want to separate either. Ooh, it's so gross. Yeah, these things were busted. Well, obviously it's a lot more busted, but yikes. And that is why I have not gotten an alignment in like 3 years, because when I got new tires, they were like, we can't align this. And now I'm finally getting around to fixing it, so. But I will be doing these very soon. I knew I needed them anyway, but now I really know. Ooh, sway bar bushings. Yeah, those don't look very good. Also, I just replaced these like less than a year ago, and they're already like going bad. So I think for the sway bar bushing kit, it comes with the poly versions of these. So I'm just gonna get those as well, and hopefully this shit doesn't happen again. And they make a clunk. Like, I literally torqued them, I fitted them. I don't really know, maybe they're the wrong part, but whatever. I got the bottom part of the shock off, and I got the nut broken loose on this side. But then on this side, I genuinely don't know. I should get my flashlight. Let me get the light. Okay, so the bolt is like behind these fittings. I'm not even sure what they're for. I think I think it's for brake fluid, because if you look, they're connected here and then they run down to the caliper. Yeah, I'm not really sure what to do about that, but we're gonna do our best. This bolt was right up here, and that was holding these lines. I'm sorry, I'm trying to get a good camera angle. It was holding these lines in place. So if you take it out and you pop this one out of its little bracket down here, so you're able to pull it, push it back, there's just enough space to get the bolt out. That looks like shit. I didn't show taking out the upper control arm because it was a pain, but you can tell that it's out because I threw it on the floor. At this part of the job, I was super hopeful because the hardest part was behind me, taking out all the rusted and seized bolts. I just had to install the new parts with mostly new hardware, and I thought it would be a piece of cake. That was until... Small problem. I was lifting up the lower control arm a little bit so I could, line up these holes and thread in the bolt for the shock. And then I hear a pop, and then my CV axle is disconnected. Cheers. For like 3 days, I've been trying to get the inner tie rod end on the adjusting sleeve, and I could not get it on. I made other people try. I couldn't figure out what was wrong, and then right this minute, I used my brain, and I forgot that it's reverse thread, and it thread right on, no problem. Thank you for that listening. Okay, so my idea, instead of taking the whole axle out, is to pop this part out because that's what's not connected. Come on, dude. I watched a video on how to get it out, and this is what they did. I have to get a new axle. I'm gonna be so sad. Nothing is ever easy. Okay, I wish I took a video of this, but I was actually losing my mind. I took a slide hammer that's for stud welding, and I zip tied it to a pair of vice grips that I clamped to half of the fucking CV axle, and I was able to get that bitch out. Oh my god, it would not come out. I pried on it. I don't know, that's mostly what I did. Pulled on it. Finally, this contraption, and it actually held up. Look at that. Wow. I'm impressed. Well, how to get a new CV axle. Got the socket, got the seal. Time to go and take out the rest of the old one and install the new one. Yay! And then do everything else I was supposed to get done yesterday. I was having trouble getting the other half of the axle out, so instead I just replaced the super rotted bump stop for now and brainstormed how I was going to get that piece out. I used my impact to get the axle nut off, and then a dead blow to try to get the axle out of the hub. It was not working. I ended up having to use a sledgehammer, and it was so difficult putting the new one in. I did not film it at all. That only took literally days and all my brain power. So I started putting everything back together again, put the shock in first, and to my delight, my axle did not split in two when I jacked up the lower control arm to line up the bolt holes, and honestly, it went together pretty smoothly. The new hardware definitely helped a lot, and it just took a little bit of finagling and using the jack to kind of get the whole screw holes to line up, but other than that, easy. So I did a little oopsie. I was trying to put the caliper back on, and I realized it wasn't fitting, and then I learned when watching the video again that I actually, this is supposed to be run underneath the upper control arm, and then the bracket mounts here. I should have done that before I put the control arm in, but I did not do that, so instead I'm going to take the banjo bolt out. I have some more crush washers, and see that. I think that'll be easier. Also, I'm sorry for the bad camera angles. I broke my tripod, so I'm just like leaning it against the mount. Okay, there we go. Now the question is, can I break this loose without it being attached to anything? Aha! I'll tighten that more once it's mounted. But that is much better. And the left side is finally done. Took about a week longer than I wanted to. We got the new shock, we got the new tie rod ends, an adjusting sleeve, new upper control arm. That's really all the new. Oh, can't forget the new axle, new CV axle, and new bump stop. And the other side, I'm about to do that. So, very happy with how it came out. 1 parking ticket, 2 rainstorms, and all of my sanity later, we're back to working on the Blazer finally. The reason I did all this and ordered all these parts is because I had a clunk from my right side sometimes when I would go over bumps or little, divots pull into my driveway, things like that. And I was so convinced it was my tie rods or my sway bar bushings. But now that I'm on the right side, doing the right side, yeah, my other axle was not connected, was not in. So, off to O'Reilly's again. Not good. At first I used a pry bar to try to loosen up the stuck part of the axle, but I ended up using my homemade slide hammer contraption to actually get it out, and it works super well. Uh-oh. That's supposed to be in. So I was able to get most of the axle out, except the part that's actually in the transfer case. So why was I pulling on that? It's supposed to be there. It's literally supposed to stay. I looked up the new one and it literally slides right onto the shaft, so I hope I did not fuck it up. Oops. Honestly, I feel like such a pro installing CV axles at this point. If anyone needs a new one, hit me up if you want a replacement. Woo! New axle in. Fully seated. Time to torque it. Torque to spec. So once I had the CV axle installed, I started putting everything back together. I started with the shock, then I did the tie rod assemblies, so I had the inner, the outer, and the tie rod adjusting sleeves. And I did my best to measure these and match the length to the old ones that I had removed, so my alignment would be sort of similar to what it was with all these new parts, even though as soon as I finished this, I went straight to the alignment shop. But I really just took my time and relaxed at this part of the job. This is where it felt kind of nice and easy. I already knew what to expect and what to do, and I just listened to music and kind of vibed. Just about all buttoned up. Got the shock, got the tie rod, got the axle, everything's torqued, and looking pretty good. I did not get the little bump stop in because it broke off like this, and I just cannot get it off. So maybe I'll grind it off at a later date, but not a big deal right now. Time to get an alignment. And this is why I need an alignment. And while I waited for the alignment, I just walked around a little bit, got a little lunch, just had a nice time relaxing after working so hard. The wheel is straight, and the wheel is straight, yo! This was the before alignment, obviously horrible. The left tire was super whack, but we made it there. And this is the after. I mean, I just took it to Pep Boys, so I think I'll take it to a better place, but I just really needed it done like today, so best of what we worked with. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I will definitely be posting more car videos soon.